I keep thinking for the last few months, and in some ways for way longer than that, about a statement that my old boss, Jerry Brown, said as California was emerging from its fiscal crisis and after having closed a general fund deficit that was about a third of its budget. And he said, fiscal discipline is not the enemy of our democracy, but its fundamental predicate. As I that it's very germane to our task and our charge as articulated by President Obama, that our charge and the charge of the board working with the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico is to restore opportunity for the people of Puerto Rico. And that requires economic growth, and it's aided by restoration of market access. The deficit, as we've heard today, as we've heard before, but more specifically today, is massive. In the near term, we're talking about a budgetary deficit that's, about 50% of projected spending under current law. In my view, there's no magic pot of gold. Additional federal assistance appears unlikely, and in my judgment, it cannot be relied upon. There, similarly, is not on the horizon a magical turnaround of the economy that is going to produce the level of revenues that gives Puerto Rico a chance of making its current commitments sustainable. The fiscal challenge is clear. And the math is unavoidable. We recognize, last night as we were talking about things and as we've been talking for weeks, my brain when thinking about how to talk about budgets tends to gravitate to the numbers. And Mr. Garcia appropriately called me out that we have to make sure that it's very clear that we have to approach these challenges with a heart. So I'll try to be more articulate about that side of the equation, which is very much part of my view, but not one that I'm particularly good at articulating. So, we have to recognize the challenges that Puerto Rico faces. We understand the demographic trends, the number of people leaving the island because of the evaporation of economic opportunity. We have to recognize that the people who are leaving the island are very much of working age population, and that is skewing the resulting population in a way that is not positive for our economic future. That more than 60% of kids and about 50% of the population are living in poverty. This is it seems to me the fundamental challenge is addressing the fiscal and budgetary gap, doing it with a heart. Where does that leave me as I think about this? It seems to me, the other piece that I think about is that in these types of situations, my sense is at best you get one clean big shot, but you don't get very many shots. So where does that leave me? It leaves me with thinking that the fiscal plan needs to be based on assumptions that are realistic. That substantial, deep debt restructuring is necessary, but that's not enough. That additional reforms and additional cutting is required. The Commonwealth, like any other government, can only spend the amount of money it has. And in my judgment, that is less money than what is projected in the fiscal plan presented by the governor. I think it means that if you assume, as I do, that additional federal funding is not coming in the near term and that economic growth is not happening in the near term, that likely, even if you agree with all the rest of the assumptions, that about another $16 billion in solutions are needed before you even pay a dime of debt service. The challenge is big, but as Governor Brown reminded me many times during our work together, achieving fiscal balance is critical to be able to have a working democracy. And hopefully, if we work together with the government of Puerto Rico, with the people of Puerto Rico, with stakeholders, with leaders, and we work on choices that are, and we work on clear information and on choices that are real and achievable, there can be a path to restoring opportunity for the people of Puerto Rico. There can be a better future for the island, and that is definitely the only reason why I'm here, because I think that is, I grew up in a Puerto Rico that was a world of opportunities, and I would like to be part of trying to return to that world.